What's up guys, Steve here, and welcome to my page where we go over Turo and how to make your fleet run as seamlessly as possible. Today we're going to go over cash versus credit on buying cars and what works best for you. Alright guys, so let's get right into it. Cash versus credit, which one works the best for your fleet? Simple answer, yes. There you go, that's all I have for today. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and get that notification bell, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Later. All right, just kidding. It ain't that simple. So there's a lot that goes into all this, right? Cash versus credit. Which one works better? What should I do? What will work best for my fleet? So if you're just getting into this and you want to test out the waters, I would 100% say do cash. Keep it as cheap as possible for yourselves, and there's tons of ways to go about this. Keep the overhead as little as possible, and one way to do that is to have a cash car. So you can get a car for $5,000 to $6,000 and under and still fit within the guidelines of Turo. So you can still keep it under the guidelines as far as 130,000 miles, and I believe it's 13 years of age of the car and a clean title. So you can keep it pretty good there. If you do buy a car that's under 130,000 and it exceeds 130,000 miles within the time that it's on the platform, now the car is grandfathered in, and they're not going to have any issues with it unless you start having breakdowns, mechanical issues, where it starts causing a lot of headache for the renters, because let's face it, they don't want to tick off their customers, and neither do you, right? You want to make sure you have that good rapport, that good review, and are able to keep your customers happy. So with that, you can keep cash cars. And I mean, if you got more money in the bank and you're willing to take a little bit more of that financial risk and buy a car for under 10,000, 10,000 cash, then go for it. I'm right next to an airport, clearly. But this works out great because in the instance of what happened last year with COVID-19 and everybody basically got grounded, if you are paying cash for a car, that car can sit for as long as you want and you don't have any worry about it. You don't have any overhead, you don't have anything except for an asset that's sitting there in the driveway not collecting you any money. But it's also not costing you anything other than, your registration and insurance, which you were able to kind of sleep, put on sleeper through those times. But regardless, it costs you next to nothing to sit there in the driveway. So that is one way you can go about it. And you can get a lot more of these cheaper cars, which are going to basically be your customers that their car broke down and they need something to go to A to B while their car's in the shop. So you have long-term renters, you have people that are basically going to rent it for the month, a couple weeks on end, to a month to 2 months, and you don't have to worry about it. You just set it and forget it and you walk away. And since it's cash, it's 100% profit after you recoup the money that you put into buying the car. So this can work out in your favor 100%. And a lot of times what you do with these cars is you'll get a lot of renters that are coming in just for the economy class travelers. They're flying in. They want something cheap just to run around for the week and then be done with it. So the other part you can go with is if you want to finance a car, right? So if you finance a car, this is where you kind of need to figure out what clientele you're really going for. Are you still going for that economic traveler that's coming in and trying to get something cheap? Or are you trying to get that middle class where, hey, they want a little bit of luxury, but they don't want to go to, Lambro status or, Bentley status? So you got to figure out which class of people you want to try and accommodate. If you are financing, you do have to take into consideration, if this car sits, how long can I maintain this payment without it just completely hurting me, right? Without me getting dinged for credit, or whoever's credit the car may be on. It may be on your LLC, your corporation, your business. You may be brokering a car, which if you need information about that, hit me up later. I can get you whatever you need to help broker cars and basically use other people's cars. So you got to be able to weigh the risk versus reward as far as, do I want this payment and how long can I sustain this payment if it's not on the road, if the car's not on the road making me money. One thing that I will say, if you are financing cars, just remember, you're building your own personal business and brand off of somebody else's business. That somebody else is Turo or Get Around or whoever, but let's face it, Turo is the big one right now. So if at any given point, Turo just decides, hey, we're done, or these are the restrictions, and hey, now your car's not able to rent for the price that you were hoping for, and sorry, too bad, so sad, it's on you. Now you have to realize, or now you have to accommodate and figure out, what am I going to do with this car if I'm not able to rent it? Another thing that you do have to be careful about is when you are on here, if you do have a car and all of a sudden it has a recall and Turo says, no more, now you're stuck with a car payment, and what do you do with it? So that's where you have to take this own risk and evaluate yourself and your business plan and what you're able to accommodate. Cash cars are great because, let's face it, Turo says, hey, no more. Well, shoot, now you already bought this car at a super low price, and because you're buying it from private party, most likely at a price point, below $6,000. So you're buying it at a good market price to where, once I'm done with it, I can either sell it for the same price, if not a little bit of profit. If you're buying it right, let's face it, you're getting a profit out of it, right? Same thing with cars. If you are buying it from the dealership, you can get them at a good price to where you still are ahead when the time comes. So hopefully you're right at the bottom where you're already getting it at an appreciated value, and to where that even though if I do put miles on it, I can still flip it or trade it in or do whatever, and I'm not out, right? The other thing you can do to get ahead is some of that profit that you are making. Now you can double up the payments, and now your equity in the car is a little bit better. Yes, you lost out on it right off the bat, but in the long run, it'll pay out, right? Last thing you want to do is have something happen to where you finance a car, you bought it at a horrible price, and somebody totals it on a rental, and now you're out cash, which is the worst thing that could happen, right? Is to be paying on something that's not even making you money anymore. So, like I said, there's tons of ways to go about this, and it's a matter of finding out what works best for you, what's your business model, and how you plan on going about it. There's tons of ways. I mean, it's just like real estate. You can go use your own cash, invest into everything, and go the Dave Ramsey way, which is pay cash for everything. That way you're never in debt. Or you can go the, let's just call it the Robert Kiyosaki way, from Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is, let's use other people's money. So if you are using other people's money, you're basically doing it off credit, or unless you were able to pull money from other people as an investment or a loan. That's one way to go about it. But credit is usually going to be the most reasonable way to go about it. But you have to realize, if it's on your credit, how this may affect you later on long term if you're not able to afford these payments. So, like I said, there's not really a clear cut and dry answer for this. There's a few ways to go about it. You just have to really buckle down, figure out what's going to work best for you and your business model, and what kind of financial responsibilities you're willing to take. Say you wanted to get to 10 cars, that's 100 racks right there, 100K. Do you have that sitting in the bank? Me personally, I don't, but there's other ways that you can go about it. So it's, what are you willing to do? The other way you could go about this, if you wanted 10 cars and you were going to spend 5 on one car, you could use that $5,000 to put on 10 different down payments. But now you have that payment every month that you have to take into account and take off the top before you get to your profitability, right? So there's a whole lot that goes into this. Figure out what works best for you. I know what works for me. Right now, I do have my personal car, which you guys have seen it, my Civic. That's the first car that I've put on there. Yes, there is a payment on it, but I am also positive on it right now. And when I bring in more cars, what I would like to do, me personally, I would like to have a couple cash cars and then a couple higher end cars that I know will make the payment. But if for some reason something happens to these ones where I can't make that payment, I know these cash cars will kind of help carry the weight of the other ones that have a payment. If everything goes well, the ones that I have a payment are making even more money than the cash cars. So then it's just win-win, a lot more cash flow. The risk is, if it's not making money, now these cash cars are taken away from that bottom line and I'm not as profitable. So once again, figure out what works best for you. Stick with me on this. If you like what you're seeing, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And hopefully I can get more of this info out to you guys and growing this page. Like I said, follow me along on the journey. I can't wait to see how big this can actually get. And I also can't wait to see how big you guys can get on top of this. Hopefully you can outgrow me, outpace me, and be way better off at this than I am. So hopefully this is helping you guys out. Like I said, Drop it in the comments. If it is, even if it isn't, let me know. Give me some kind of idea. If you guys have any better tips or tricks than I do, drop it in the comments and I will definitely address it or follow up with it and maybe even put it in here. And let me know what you guys would like to see. I'm here to kind of help you guys out as I grow with my own fleet. Like I said, I had another fleet before this, and it's still up and running. There was a lot of growing pains we had with COVID and all that. So this is kind of seeing basically which direction you go, which one will work best. So follow along, and we'll get through this together. Hope you guys are out there just crushing it, making money, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Later.